What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another bit of content for you guys, and it is the last predicted lineup before the new season kicks off. It is Tottenham against Bayern Munich, round 2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We get to welcome back Harry Kane and Eric Dyer. I think there'll be a bit of a ceremony before the game, welcoming them back and handing them some sort of, I don't know what they're going to do for them, but it's going to be nice. Anyway, definitely to see Harry Kane back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We already saw Eric Dyer against Spurs out in Korea. And Postecoglou has been talking in his press conference. Is there any updated team news?
Yeah, there is. Destiny Udogie, he said he's been training for a couple of weeks, so he is available and in contention to play. He said Van de Ven, Romero, Bentancur, all in contention to play as well. The only ones potentially missing out are Richarlison and Forster. Forster probably out. He said Richarlison most probably out, but could maybe be in contention, but probably won't be able to make it.
Yeah, well, let's hope that they can make it before the start of the season, because Dominic Solanke is coming in, but it looks like it will be next week. So they are saying that Solanke actually will be in contention to play Leicester, which will be a massive boost for us. But anyway, let's get into the predicted lineup. We're going 4-3-3 as usual. And up first is Big Vicario.
Yeah, no surprises. He's going to be in. He's going to be in goal. I do envisage this one. He actually might play 90 minutes. I'm thinking in this game, I don't think Ange's going to do the typical, starting lineup and then, major changes in the 70th minute. I do think there will be changes. Even by the end, there might be significant, but I don't think it'll be 45 one, 45 another, because with a week left to go, he's going to want to get that side settled for the start of the season. And I think obviously Big Vic will be starting, and I think he'll be playing the majority of the game here.
Yeah, I mean, in the last 2 games in Korea, we did only make, I think, 3 changes at half time. So it's been decreasing as the preseason has gone on. But yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be, I think, the first team which he's probably going to be looked to be starting against Leicester, maybe apart from Dominic Solanke. Right back, we're going to stick with Pedro Porro. I think he's started every single game at preseason, hasn't
he? He has, and I think he's grown in preseason. He started a bit dodgily, but I think the last few games he's really looking a lot sharper, a lot better, which is good timing for the season to start. So I do think he'll be starting this one.
Yeah, so Porro right back. Right centre-back, we're actually going to go for Radu Dragusin. There is a chance for Romero to start, but you're talking about players that might have only 45 minutes. I think Radu and Romero might share a half each.
Potentially, yeah. Obviously, Romero coming back from that tournament winning from the Copa in the summer. So he's probably been the one who's had the least time off so far. So I do think Radu might start the first game of the season, with Romero just feeling his way into it, considering he hasn't played any preseason. So I do think Romero will be on the bench and Radu start this one.
And then left centre-back is a welcome return to big Mickey van der Ven. He's been sorely missed, and it's going to be great to see him back on that pitch.
Definitely, and I think the difference between him and Romero, obviously, he made the semi-finals and actually didn't play that much compared to Romero, who played every single minute of the games out in the Copa. So I think Van der Ven will come in to be ready for the new season. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him back in the starting 11.
Yeah. And then to make up that back line on left back will be a return to the team to Destiny Udogie. He was out on the tour, didn't see a minute. Ange did say, I think he returned back to training. I thought he returned back to training out in Korea, but then they said he returned back in London. So it was a strange one for me, but I do think he comes back in for this one.
Yeah, they must be talking about like full training or something, because we saw him a bit in the open training, but he wasn't fully acclimatized with the team. So I think maybe it's, since he's come back to London, he's been in full training and he's been very much part of the first team. So it's really important that he's back. Obviously, we haven't signed anyone in that position as backup leading up to the new season. So really great timing for Destiny to be back. Obviously, he hasn't played anything in preseason. He's been out for a while. So getting this friendly in his legs is very important.
Yes, that's a back line of Big Vic in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Van der Ven and Dragusin as our centre-back options. And it's such a welcome change, isn't it? Because of the whole of the pre-season, we've just been playing a makeshift back line. And it'll be great to see actual centre-backs playing at centre-back.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Game. In the number 6 position, we're going to side with Yves Bissouma. I think Archie Gray started in the number 6 against Bayern Munich last time. He was a bit overawed by the occasion. It was a bit of a learning curve for him, and I think Bissouma comes in for it.
Yeah, it is interesting that Archie Gray has started every single preseason game, but I do think this might be the one he doesn't start. We do think that Basuma will start the season. Obviously, he is the more senior player. He has played quite well in preseason. We want to get him back to that confident Basuma we saw at the start of last season. So I think him starting in this one is important with the lead up to the season coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. In the number 8, there's actually a few options that we could go for. You go for Rodrigo Bentancur, who's returned. You can go for Lucas Bergvall, who's been a shining light in pre-season so far. But we are going to side with Pape Matar.
Yeah, I just think we are going to play the team that starts against Leicester or whatever the closest to it, albeit with injuries. We'll see who gets injured, but I think Sarr will start. I think he hasn't had the best preseason, albeit he had a fairly solid game against QPR. The other games hasn't looked as sharp as Bergvall, and maybe has been more impressive. But I do think Sarr has the energy, he has that ground covering ability, and I think he is going to want to have him from the start of the season, and with a view of him improving on what was a really good first season as a starter last season. So I do think he starts this one with maybe Bergvall. If he comes off the bench and really impresses again, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out he starts the first game, but I do think Sarr will start this one.
Well, where does that leave Bentancur then? Because obviously he's a very senior player in the team, just coming back, needs minutes in his legs. Went all the way to the semi-final, I believe, Uruguay.
And then also played a third place playoff,
Yeah,
which he scored in.
Exactly. So do you think it's just a case of him feeling his way back into the season?
I think so. Of course, I'm sure he'll get minutes in this one. Maybe he'll get minutes in the 6th. It'll be interesting to see where we really see him, because with Bergvall now there, with Kuluveski now there as well, who could potentially play the 8, and Bentancur can play the 8. Skip is still there. It'll be interesting to see where Ange feels like Bentancur, and Archie Gray as well, who's probably, at the moment, he says his best position is maybe a box-to-box in the 8 as well. So it'll be interesting to see whether does Ange see Bentancur in competition with Basuma, or does he see him in competition with Sarr? Does he see him just a player who can play both? Obviously, we know Bentancur is a good enough player to start when he's at his best. There are glimpses of him getting back to his best in the Copper as well, in some of the games he played at the end. I was reading some reports from Uruguay fans saying, there was a game he went off injured, but before he went off injured, he was the best player on the park, and then obviously he scored in that third place playoff. So we know how good he is, but I think right at the start of the season, I think probably Sarr will get the nod.
Yeah. It's interesting about Bergvall as well, because he's been such a shining light in pre-season, hasn't he? And I think he's played in the 6, 8 and 10. So where do you think Ange maybe feels like he's at his best?
I think probably for the moment, given his age, you don't want to put too much responsibility in him. You want to give him a bit more freedom. So I reckon he's going to see him as a number 10 for now, as a backup to Madders, with a view of maybe in certain games he can play with Maddison if we're looking to break a low block or something like that. Or maybe, we saw he can definitely put a foot in some of these preseason games, and he's willing to put a challenge in. If he shows he's capable of holding that responsibility, of that defensive responsibility of that 8 position, I think maybe down the line, as the season goes on, we might see him in the 8 a bit more. Maybe that's a trial for Europa League kind of thing. But I think for now, definitely in Premier League games, I think he's going to be back up to Madders.
Yeah, so we're going for Basuma in the 6, Sarr in the 8. In the 10, we are going to go for James Maddison, who's actually come under a bit of flack for this pre-season so far. I do think he's been a bit up and down. Still not the Madders which we know and love from those first 10 games of the season. Let's hope he can get back to that form in this game.
Definitely. He's still not been at his very best. I do think he's been pretty decent. I do think, obviously, he's one of the senior players in the team, and as a vice captain, I do think Ange is going to want to put his trust in him. I do think that he's going to start the season. Hopefully, he can up his game. But look, there is definitely a lot more competition for his place than there was last season. I know Lo Celso was there, but he's probably going to be out the door at the moment. But you've got Bergvall there. You've got Kuluveski now, who's definitely predominantly going to be in the central position. So Maddison, I don't think will be as comfortable with his place definitely being there as he was last season, potentially.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. So that's Maddison in the 10. On the right-hand side, we're going to go for Brennan Johnson, who also has started every single game this preseason, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think he's been pretty good. There have been some games where he's been anonymous, but there has been some games where he's done what Andrew's asked to do and got all those assists. And hopefully, the more he develops, the more he can take on his game. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops on that right hand side. So obviously, with no real alternative, I mean, we could play Decky there, but obviously we're going to be playing Decky central. So we think Brennan. Obviously, we're looking for a winger signing apparently to have competition for him, but until he signs, I think Brennan's got that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought he was really poor against Bayern Munich last time out. We actually left him out the ratings. That's how forgetful he was and how forgetful his performance was. But I want to see him, really, take control of that right-hand side and really attack his fullback and get those low-driven crosses in and get into those scoring positions, which I don't think he did at all in the last Bayern Munich game. On the left-hand side, obviously, is going to be the captain, Son Heung-min.
Yep, definitely moving back out to the left this season. He's played. Look, he started the game against QPR on Hearts up front, but since then he's played every other game on the left. I think Andrew's made it clear he wants to play him back on the left. I think Son's made it clear he sees his best position right now on the left-hand side. And even though Richarlison's injured and Solanke's yet to sign, it looks like he's preferring Decky in the centre, and I think we're looking better for it, to be honest. So I think Son back on the left, and hopefully he can really, I think, to be honest, at the back end of last season as well, he had some really good performances out on the left. So I think his form on that side is starting to improve a lot. So let's hope that continues.
Yeah, and to make up that final 11 in the number 9, we're going to go for Dejan Kuluveski, who's really impressed in this pre-season. I'll probably say he's been our player of pre-season so far. Maybe it's between him and Bergvall, in my opinion, and I'll probably just pip it with Kuluveski just about. And he's been brilliant in every single game. He's been creative. He's been a goal threat. He's been aggressive. He's been hard to handle. And I expect more of the same in this game against Bayern Munich.
Yeah, and whether that be in the 9, the 8, or the 10, he's actually been pretty consistent, pretty good, getting goal assists pretty regularly. I don't think he's scored, but he's been creating lots of chances throughout pre-season. And it's going to be interesting because obviously he's going to play this game in the false 9, we assume. Now Solanke's probably going to sign in time for the Leicester game, we assume as well. If that happens, and given how good Kuluveski has been, it's going to be interesting to see what Ange does about that. Does he persist with Kuluveski in that false 9 while Solanke gets up to speed? Does he play him in the 8 next to Madders? Does he drop Madders and play Kuluveski there? Does he drop Brennan and maybe put just to justify, because Kudeki's so good, he has to put him somewhere, and maybe Brennan's the full guy. So he's going to have a tough decision because I don't know if you can leave him out right now, the form he's in, but it's just going to be interesting to see where we put him in. To be honest, right now, because there's so many options, and you can argue there are better options for where his best positions are right now. I think he definitely starts in the 9 this one, and maybe if he has a great game again against Bayern, maybe it's a case of, even though Solanke's going to sign, maybe he could persist with Kuluveski while Solanke gets up to speed.
Yeah, I actually feel like Solanke will start that game against Leicester. I think Decky will come out of the team. I get what you're saying, he seems like he's playing too well to leave out at the moment, but what a great option to have off the bench and to change things if things aren't going well with Decky. But I do think Decky comes in for that Everton game. They're sitting in a low block. We're going to have all the ball. We're going to need to, probe them and try and break through their low block. I think Decky starts in the middle with Maddison in that game. So I think that's probably the way Ange is going to go, or that's the way I see it anyway.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of tough decisions to make. Decky, in a way,
good decision.
In a way, Decky's versatility working against him, you could say, because where is his real best position now? Is he definitely is his best position number 8? Is it 10? Is it false 9? Is it right wing? We don't at the moment. We're moving away from right wing, so. But I don't think we've quite worked out what his real best position is. But in a way, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It means he can play all of them to a good standard, which is good. But it also means, like, if we're looking at number 8, is he a better number 8 than Sarr or Bentancur? Is he a better 9 than Solanke or Richarlison? Is he a better 10 than Maddison or Bergvall? These are interesting questions.
Yeah, but having that versatility to you is going to garner him a lot of minutes throughout the season, because maybe he might not start every game, but he's definitely going to be playing a part in every game. That's for sure.
That's the thing, though. If you're playing that well, and you're playing as well as he is, and he will feel like I should be in the best 11 kind of thing. But then where does he go in the best 11? That's where his versatility works against him. Works for him in the fact that, as you say, throughout the season, he's going to get a lot of starts in certain positions and he'll get a lot of minutes. But when it comes to crunch games, like, I don't know, Man City or whatever, or big games where we need our best 11, is he going to be in the team? That's the question.
Yeah, but, as Man City year in, year out, you need a big squad. You need big players on the bench as well as starting on the pitch. So I think it's a great headache for Ange Postecoglou to have going into the season.
It's a good problem.
Yeah, But yeah, that is our predicted lineup. Let's run through it one more time. So it's Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogi left back, Radu Dragusin and Mickey van der Ven in the centre back positions, Bissouma, Sarr and Maddison in the midfield, Brennan Johnson on the right, Son Heung-min on the left, and Decky up front. What's your score prediction?
Obviously, we didn't do very well last time against Bayern, but this is hopefully much better defensive setup. We're going to have Basuma in the centre as well. So I went with 2-2 last time. I think I'll probably go with that again. What's interesting is we're looking at this lineup. This is exactly pretty much the team we ended the last season with, isn't it? So that's why I mean maybe some people are frustrated. We ended the season quite badly. So hopefully we've learned a lot of the lessons from the end of last season.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some fresh impetus, maybe not with new personnel, but just a fresh start going into the new season with a week away. I really want to see a good performance from Spurs. It's going to be very hard against a Bayern Munich team that are also getting a lot of their players back. Harry Kane will be playing, which will make it a bit of an atmosphere in the stadium. So I said Spurs to lose out in Korea. I was right with that. I'm going to go with you for a draw on this one. I'm going to stick with you on 2-2. But I think it's going to be a good game of football. We're going to be back in the studio for the watch along tomorrow, so come and join us for that. But let us know your predicted lineup, your score predictions in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on,
Come on, you Spurs.